Please be seated. You are. Okay. Well, I'm sorry. Anyway, glad to be here, and I'm going to talk with you briefly. I think I have 10 minutes, so I will talk about staying out of court, litigation avoidance, and I need to move through the slides. So, oh, you're a clicker. Okay, then start clicking away. All right, let's see. Can I click it, because I'm going to go really rapid fire here. Okay, so all right. So here's a. Okay, let me just go back here. Start again. You unplugged here. Okay. All right. Here we go. 85% of lawsuits against residential agents in California only involve property condition disclosure issues, and that's what I talk about. By the way, I have nothing to sell you here, so I'm not leading up to anything for you to buy from me. I always like to start with things I found that I think are kind of funny. This is a flyer. Notice the second line here, white European family kitchen. So we have a couple choices, either a white kitchen, European style, or a nice kitchen for a white European family. We're not sure what exactly it says. I'm sure Fair Housing was, you know. It's kind of an odd thing. This is a health club. You have a choice of stairs or an escalator to go up about 10 or 12 stairs. And this is a real thing. It's not Photoshopped. And it's in San Diego. I've driven by it. I've stopped when I see it. And almost everybody on their way to the Stairmaster takes the escalator. Don't ask me why. And then finally, you see these decals on the back of a car window? I'm not sure what happened to good old dad here, but not looking. I guess if you had that many kids, you might, I don't know. Okay, many of you probably know who Gov Hutchison is. He's the grand guru with CAR on disclosure. He and I do an event in Sacramento every year, a big event, and I'll share with you in the few minutes I have here some of the things I covered. I talk about risk management and lawsuit avoidance more than anybody in the state of California. My 30th year, and if you ever want me in your office to do a seminar, I do not sell anything, I do not have any service that I provide, or I don't do coaching, I have no books, I have no DVDs, I'm sponsored by like home warranty companies, NHD firms, lenders, and that sort of thing, so just let me know. Okay, most of you probably use the ABID when you do your visual inspection, and that's good that you do. It's not a mandatory form, by the way, a lot of people think it is. And it is with most companies, but it is not with the state of California Department of Real Estate. It's an optional form. However, it is used so prolifically in California, that it has really developed into the standard of care. So it's good that you use it, but the statutory form is the TDS, or the tedious form, if you want to call it that. And there's only one thing it mentions to do, and that's a visual inspection. So, question for us this morning. Does that mean that the only things that you're going to write down in the avid are things that you can see? Because it does say visual inspection. The answer, of course, is no. And that's because that term, which has been on the transfer disclosure statement since it came out in 1986, so it's been, that wording's been there a long time, really means, or is kind of morphed to mean in court, any sensory perceptions, whether you notice it visually or not. So let me just give you two examples, and again, I'm on a tight time thing here, so I'll talk fast. Let's say this is the second floor of a house, you've got a hallway here, you've got the app, you're doing your visual inspection, and you're going up and down bedrooms, bathrooms, and you notice as you traverse the hallway that it seems to be a little bit sloped, just slightly, not much, and you look at it, you really can't see the slope, but you do notice it when you're walking back and forth, and you're thinking, well, it could be evidence of a big thing, a structural problem, a soils issue, a construction defect. It could be. Those would be very expensive to repair and incredibly expensive to litigate over and repair. But I'm already thinking about in the wrong direction. Excuse me, because it doesn't make any difference what the problem is. One of the good things about disclosure, and there aren't a lot of great things about it, by the way, but one good thing about it, we never need to figure anything out for anybody. So let's say this was I'll get back to this. But this is dining room table, and maybe a normal height ceiling. And I look up, and when I'm doing my Avid, I look up and it looks like a small water stain. So I'm ready to write that down. But I don't want to write it down that way because I don't want to use adjectives, as I'm sure you know. Small, big, large, major, minor, fair, poor. So it's not, I don't want to fight somebody in court who's a stain expert witness on the other side, you know, a stainologist or something, whatever, on the other side of the court, and it's going to say, no, it's not a small water stain, it's medium. And they'll take their word because they're an expert, not mine. So I don't want to get into it with them, so I just leave small off. Anything else I want to leave off? The word water, because water is an adjective. And it's actually an analysis word, because if it's water, it's got to be from roof leak, plumbing leak, AC line dripping. Maybe I mentioned dining room, table. Maybe at a party a few years ago, somebody had a bottle of champagne pop the cork, hit the ceiling, champagne stain. I don't know what it is. I don't care what it is. And if I knew what it was, even if I knew, I wouldn't write it down. Even if I knew, it never goes on the average. I never explain anything, never figure anything out. So what looks like, and probably really is in real life, a small water stain, when I write it down with the ink pen on the Avid, I'm never going to change it. It's just a stain or a spot. I just stay generic, a mark, stain, spot. So back to the uneven floor. I can't see the unevenness, but I noticed it. I want to call it out, but it's a sensory perception. It's not visual, but I still go ahead and disclose it. I don't stop because the TDS says visual. I noticed it somehow. So I'll probably write down upstairs hallway floor appears to have some unevenness. I would not hold back just because I can't see it. Strong odor in the home. Let's say I have the buyers. Every time I'm at the property, now I would not write strong odor down on my Avid because strong's a adjective. So this is just for our purposes here. So, but it's very pervasive. It's very strong. I'm thinking it's so overwhelming that when the seller moves out and my client moves in, it's just going to be too much. You know, it may linger on. And of course, I'm wondering what's causing this. It doesn't make any difference what's causing it. I don't care what's causing it. If I knew what was causing it, I wouldn't be writing it down. So for my purposes, maybe later on in the deal it comes up as an issue, but right away, not on the Avid. So even though it's a sense of smell, I notice something, but I don't want to get into litigious terminology like pet odors, like the cat, the dog, or the canary or something, or tobacco. By the way, the other day I saw an Avid somebody gave me, you got to see this, the agent on the other side of the deal wrote down, tobacco odors noted from Lucky Strike non-filter menthol. You gotta be kidding me. Anyway, you want to say tobacco? What if there's like a musty smell in the room? They're watering a lot of plants or it's kind of built into the hill or something. Well, I don't want to say musty because musty's related to mildew and mildew's related to mold. So the word musty is a professional diagnostic term. And I do not want to do battle with a moldologist or whatever. I'm not going to win the battle. It's not a level playing field. So I don't write the word down. So I do disclose it because it's a sense of smell, it's a sensory perception. But I don't want to try to define what it's from or even guess, certainly not guess. So a word that I like, come up with something else if you like. I like the word obvious or the word apparent. Obvious, odor noted at property. It calls attention to it, but it does not give a cause or a reason or anything else. But I'm still doing my job for the buyers and I'm letting them know what's going on or letting them know that what concerns me. So I've got to be careful. Any sensory perception. So the only two things that should ever be on an Avid, it's got to be a defect or a red flag. Nothing else. You probably think that or know that. That's fine. Let me throw out a couple of stumbling blocks that you might encounter. First of all, by way of definition, a defect is anything where there is no argument. If the window's broken, nobody will disagree with me. I can, with my ink pen, permanent record, I'll write down the window's cracked, the window's broken. There is no window expert in the world that will challenge me on that. So that's really easy. The one that's a little bit tougher, but not too tough, is the red flag category. And that's where I like to stain, like I was giving an example of, where I assume that there's been a problem, but I don't really know what the cause was, or I can guess, but I don't want to guess. So when I have a concern, but I don't have a definite conclusion, that makes it a red flag. Now, a lot of red flags are not really problems. We don't have to make that judgment call. We still want to write them down. So for example, if you were to see this, you would be concerned. However, not so much now. It's a dog. So a red flag that doesn't amount to much. Most of them don't. Here are the two traps we can fall into. First, I'll call the ceiling fan trap. Let's say this is the family room with maybe a regular ceiling, I don't know. And I can't find anything wrong. I look around, nothing to disclose anywhere. I don't want to leave it blank. Leaving that part of the form blank is not a good idea. Like in court, why did you forget to go there? Did you just space out on it? Did you, or the home doesn't have a family room, not all homes do. and they throw another half a dozen things at me to just sort of torture me with this stuff. So I don't want to leave it blank. I don't want to compliment that room, and I never want to compliment the house. Some agents, when they can't find anything wrong, they write down homes in fair condition. The word fair in court means good. It's a value judgment. There is no upside for you to say that. Advertising all day long, wonderful, beautiful, exquisite, luxurious, amazing, all day, but not in disclosure. So I don't want to compliment the home. Normal wear and tear, normal in court means good as well. And there's nothing in it for me to write that down. There's a lot of downside for me to write it down. So I don't want to leave it blank, can't find anything. Then I noticed that like there's a ceiling fan. Oh good, ceiling fan. I got something to write down, but I don't have to leave it blank. Write down ceiling fan noted. Well, the ceiling fan is not a defect or a red flag. It's inventory. So what I just started to do is I transitioned a little bit, and now I'm taking down, writing down defects, red flags, and inventory. Now I have to be consistent and write down the inventory in all the other rooms of the house, all the rooms I've been through. Now I have a 2-page addendum with a list of all the stuff that they have in the house, and that's not what I want to do. Here's the other trap I can fall into. I call it the spider web trap, literally or figuratively. Can't find anything to say, looks fine, and which is never a problem. In fact, it's good that there's nothing to say. But I noticed, I'm just trying to find something, and maybe the sellers had a painting or a picture on the wall. They vacated. There's a little tiny hole where they had a nail or a screw or something. Good, there's something I can write down. And I disclose that. It's too insignificant. It's too small. Doesn't rise to the level of being on my disclosure radar screen. So I've gotten so trivial now. To be consistent, I need to be equally picky in all the other rooms of the house. Now I have another 2-page addendum. So I've got the inventory. Now I've got a list of every single bit of minutia in the house. I don't want to do that either. So unless you have an office policy to the contrary, and if you do, go, I'm leaving town after this, so if you do, go with them. I like nothing noted, nothing observed. It's a nice thing to write down to say I was in the room, I didn't forget to go there, but I didn't see anything really worthy of disclosure. So that's the way to go, or that's a way to go. Can I have 3 more minutes? Or no, am I done? Okay, this is real fast. Okay. I've been doing this again 30 years. I have 32 hours of non-repeating information on this laptop, so I will not take that long. Anyway, here's a real quick way to take a rough draft disclosure and in about a minute or less turn it into a final thing that you can write down in ink on the Avid. So it's free. You don't have to download an app. It takes about a half a minute. So anyway, so you're in the kitchen property doing your visual inspection. You see a couple stains like this. Now, if this was in my home, I'd get a cleaning product or rag and just wipe it off or whatever, but that's the real world, not the real estate world. So I'm not sure what to write down. The broken window's broken. I can do that right there. On ink pen, I'll never change it. But I'm not sure, but I got a time limit. I can't be here all day and somebody's waiting for me or something. So the technique involves, it's low tech, it involves a pen and a piece of paper. So you write down whatever comes to your mind. And let's say, exaggerating a bit to make a point, I write down 2 small black mold stains noted, obviously wrong. Then, look, I'm done with that, so far. Then I do my visual inspection, I leave the property. Then later on in my car, at home, office, whatever, I look at this and I ask myself, here's how the technique works. What words can I take out of this statement such that it still makes sense in the English language? I really am getting rid of adjectives. I don't have to say 2 because there may be 3. I don't want to say small, it may be medium. I never give colors. I positively don't want to write the word mold down. All I have left over is stains noted, and I put that on the Avid with the pen, and I'll never change it. I've taken what might have been a problematic liability-prone disclosure statement and turned it into something that's about as liability-free as you can get. I saw this, and this will take 1 minute, at a supermarket. I was at Vaughn's, middle of the day, in a hurry like I usually am, and I looked at my cart and I had 12 items, so I qualified, I guess, for the express lane. I noticed there was a guy behind me that was counting. He was going. So, okay, what if I had 16, 17, 18? Probably nothing's going to happen. That's in the supermarket. In real estate, things happen. About a week later, I was at Ralph's. They do it in an ingenious way. It's different. About 15 items. Nobody's counting anything now. Because if I had 16, 17, that's about 15. It takes the argument out, the fight out of it, and that's how we want to write our disclosures. Instead of 2 cracks noted in living room at north wall and 3 cracks at south wall, there are too many things to argue about. And people only go to court when they have an argument. If there's no argument, there's no litigation. So I just change it up, and something like, doesn't have to be this, but something like some cracks noted at living room walls. There's no numbers, there's no locations. I've taken care of my fiduciary and ethical job, moral job for the client. They know there are some cracks there, but they're not counting them. I'm not getting caught up in the number and the location and so on and so forth. So it's kind of the about 15 item thing. And with another 30 hours to go, I will stop here because of the time limit. Probably everyone in your office, I'm doing a seminar for the Arcadia Association a week or two. You can just find my name there. You go to Google and write in real estate risk management. I'm #1 on the list. You can find me there too. Thank you very much.
All right.